You took part here in a conference in the Bar-Ilan University which discussed what will happen in a few years, 10 years around.
They said that if all the Arab parties will unite, they'll become the second biggest party in the Knesset. The tension will be becoming greater and greater, and there must be a collision, and the Jewish state will try to defend itself against the Arab minority and will become an apartheid state.
What should be our conclusions after this debate that you held here today?
I don't believe that we will reach a moment, first of all, that all the Israeli Arabs will united. Impossible. Secondly, we will find many steps ahead before to avoid such a unification. And let's say that we will find one day that they united themselves. We will find all the ways to control them. And in the movie, it was even some remarks about the fact that the day after, we realized that Hamas and Iran are part of the story, and we will dismantle the fears.
So some people say that the solution for that is to separate, to have two states.
The two-state solution is recommended for Judea and Samaria and Gaza, and when they see this scenario or TV piece, they recommend another two-state solution for the Negev and the Galilee and Jerusalem. This is the stage process that Arafat talked about. The appetite of the Arab will become greater and greater when we will give them more and more. The problem is that we shouldn't wait until the Arabs will become the second biggest bloc in the Knesset. They are already united, even though they are split among themselves between the communist and the Muslim party. When the issue comes of being against the state of Israel, they are already united. It's not a question of just a framework of parties that will be united, but a question of position of these parties. The solution will start when the Jews will understand the situation, will stop putting their heads in the sand, will look at the mirror, will look at the reality that the Arabs of Israel are enemies. They want to exterminate the state of Israel as a Jewish state. They want it to be a binational state. The Jews will not have even a single state in the world. When we understand it, we are on the right way to solve the problem.
In terms of the demographic issue, you also had some sort of news here regarding, you could say, good news for the Jews.
Good news for the Jews. I'm not sure if it is good news for the seculars. According to the Israeli according to the Israeli Statistical Bureau, we will see still a decline in the percentage of the Israeli Jews until 2025, and still a small increase by the Israeli Muslims. And from 2025 and to at least what we have at the moment to the year 2030, suddenly the Arabs will reach what we call the demographic momentum. Today, in spite of the fact that the fertility rate of the Muslim woman is very low in Israel because of so many young children, so many young couples are every year coming to the fertility moment, and therefore we'll see more and more children until 2025. Since this moment, we will see more and more national religious Jews and ultra-Orthodox Jews and less Muslims. And suddenly more Jewish people in Israel. My question, I don't have an answer. What will happen with the seculars in Tel Aviv? They will stay here, or they will go to New York or London? I'm not sure.
There were many journalists, politicians, academics interviewed in this movie, but you focused actually on one important quote by a young kid, an Arab student in one of the Galilee schools, an Arab school. Tell me about what he said.
A 16-year-old kid, very bright, very nice looking, very quiet, not a politician, not somebody in this process. But he said, one day, everything here will be ours. we will have everything. We will have the state of Israel as an Arab state. And that's when it comes from a youngster, says something about the future of the next generation of the young Arabs. They are not looking for civil rights, they are not looking for minority rights, they are looking to own the land of Israel. And this is the mirror. We should believe in what we see.
In terms of the issue of the two-state solution, some see this whole scenario of the Arabs becoming more, not a majority, but more a serious part of the Israeli politics and everything, that the conclusion from that should be a two-state solution. Do you think that could help?
As we don't have a solution for the West Bank, if I can pray, if God hear me, the best way that we will return back to the king of Jordan and ask him, please annex back the West Bank. This is the best solution to that, to change the vector toward Amman. He is smart enough not to do it, and we don't have a solution. So the ideal of two-state solution is in theory the best solution. I don't believe that we will reach such a moment because we cannot negotiate on Jerusalem, we cannot negotiate on the right of return, we cannot negotiate on the fact that the Israeli Air Force will not allow them to have their own Air Force. We will fly over. They ask, give us a mini army just for parades. We will not allow them. And they have just to wait and hoping that the demography will ticking and they will take over the country. So I don't think that we will reach a solution. And the Islamic world, and therefore we have to all the time to talk about two-state solution, knowing that it's impossible.
Exactly.
In the meantime, to strengthen our borders, to strengthen Israel, to make Israel much more beautiful, to settle Jewish people in the Negev, in Jerusalem. We betray Jerusalem. Don't believe about the day of Jerusalem with all the blah blah. We betray Jerusalem. 500,000 Jews left Jerusalem since 1967 on the way to this bloody city named Tel Aviv.
Now, just another word about the two-state solution. If there is a two-state solution, that won't do anything in terms of the Israeli Arabs. They'll still have the reasons to want the whole state.
The Israeli Arabs, like the Palestinian people, like the Arab world, like the Muslim world, they are waiting to have back all the territories. So take it for granted and take it as an assumption. They are waiting. And the only solution is to be much more stronger, to make Israel beautiful. And remember, Israel now is the most highest dense country in the Western world, which is a trigger to be third world country. This is a problem, but leaders don't like to talk about it because the solution is behind their election period.